Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle and I'm currently narrating a story time of my former friend being in the occult. In the last episode, I talked about how she did some shenanigans when it came to her birthday dinner and there was this big blowout. I'm going to talk about things that happened months after. Me and her were still friends, but things weren't the same. So here it goes. So y'all, the thing happened with Ruby on her birthday dinner stuff. We did our whole exchange or whatever. Now it is August 6th, the day after my birthday. I get a text from Ruby wishing me happy birthday. Now, here's the thing. I'm not surprised that Ruby wished me a happy birthday the day after my birthday because I remember when me and her were like really tight before the whole birthday dinner situation. She would always assume that my birthday was August 6th, maybe because her birthday was July 6th. But I would always correct her and say, oh, no, it's August 5th. So when she wished me happy birthday August 6th, I'm thinking, okay, she probably just mixed it up again, right? And I responded to her birthday wish by thanking her. Sometime in October, y'all, she called me asking about the job search. Girl, she called me asking about the job search and I'm like, hey, yeah, I haven't gotten a job yet. Yada, yada, yada. She also informed me that she had a job offer from a company that was based in DC. Now, mind you, she was in her last semester in grad school. So she was graduating in December. So she was telling me that she had gotten a job offer in DC, but she didn't take it because they wanted her to work right away, but, you know, she was still taking classes. She hadn't yet graduated. So that was that conversation. Now, fast forward to November 16th. I said, you know what? Let me actually have a sit down with her because I can tell like the vibes are off between me and her. So November 16th, actually, no. A couple of days before November 16th, I reached out to her like, hey, can we meet on November 16th that I'm going to be in your area? Okay, so November 16th happened to be the day I went to Vinings to look at an apartment. I talk about it on The Likely Story. I go there. That apartment ended up being the apartment that my future husband, Brandon, was living in at the time. So I did a whole story about that on The Likely Story. So anyways, after I finished touring the apartment, I go to the restaurant that me and Ruby decided to meet at. I get there and she's like, yeah, I'm 10 minutes away. Oh, yeah, I'm 20 minutes away, whatever, right? So I'm there waiting for her. Eventually, she comes and we go inside. And I said, oh, how far is the restaurant from you? Because I knew this restaurant was in her neighborhood. She's like, oh, it's 10 minutes away. I'm like, okay. So we get into the restaurant. And we order our food. And so she says to me, she says, what were you doing in Vinings? Classic Ruby to, pry into what I got going on. So what were you doing in Vinings? Oh, yeah, I was looking for apartments. Now, mind you, at this time, because I'm fully aware that Ruby is someone who pries into people's business, I'm trying to be careful about how I respond to her. I don't want to give her too much information. I want to give her enough to the point where she doesn't give me a follow-up question. Now, it wasn't working too well this day. So she said, oh, so you're moving? I said, yeah, I'm thinking about moving. My lease is up in January, so I'm just thinking about leaving North Decatur and possibly moving to the Vinings area. Now, I don't tell her about London, the job London. Now, if you want to know about London, please watch The Likely Story. I don't tell her about London. I don't tell her about Brandon. I don't tell her none of that, okay? So we started talking, and I'm like, you know what, Ruby? Like, I want to apologize for what I did about your birthday dinner situation. Like, I was really offended about the whole tie thing because I was really going through it, but I apologize. Like, I was really owning up to my part of what I did because I felt like I shouldn't have gone off on her. Like, if I wasn't going to go, I wasn't going to go. Like, I shouldn't have gone off. So I apologize. And there was a part of me thinking that she's going to say, you know what, Adriel, you did tell me that Thai food messaged your stomach up. I really wanted you to be there. I just should have had something separate with you or something. Y'all, she didn't do none of that. No. She was like, okay, I accept your apology. Now, it's fine that she didn't say, oh, Adriel, sorry that I didn't consider you having, acid reflux. It's okay, because regardless of the situation, y'all, I really did feel bad for popping off on her. So I apologize. And then she tells me that she's having a graduation celebration in December and that she wants to invite me. So I was like, yeah, I'm down, just let me know. And what else again happened? I guess we're just talking about basic stuff or surface stuff or whatever. Fast forward to December 15th, y'all. That was the day of the graduation celebration. I forgot the time the celebration was, but I remember leaving church and going to the restaurant. So they had rented the patio section of the restaurant for the celebration. I get there and it's like 2 or 3 people there, y'all. And it's people from our church. And I'm there waiting for like an hour. Like they were really on CP time. And I'm like, ugh. Anyways, probably like an hour after she showed up and her family showed up. So I was just there. And then, we exchanged greetings, whatever. And I remember her telling me that, oh, Dina's coming. She was like, I don't know how you feel, like Dina's coming. I'm like, hey, it's your graduation. And I think the reason why she said that was because of the whole birthday celebration. Like, Ruby, if you want to invite Dina because y'all are friends. Now, mind you, I was the one who brought Dina and Ruby together as friends. But here's the thing. If you want to invite her, invite her. I have no problem with that. I think for me, it was like, I have a problem with you trying to jeopardize my health. I don't have a problem with you inviting Dina because you're friends with her. I don't care. So I'm like, hey, if Dina's coming, she's like, are you sure? Are you sure? I'm like, y'all are friends. If you invited her, you invited her. So the DJ starts playing music. Things are kind of like coming up little by little. People are coming. And guess who shows up, y'all? Tiana. I saw Tiana. Now, I don't know if Tiana knew that I knew who she was, but I saw her. I said hello to her. She said hello to me. There was I didn't get Mean Girl vibes from her. But, we both exchanged pleasantries. And I think we got into a little conversation and that was it. So I was eating the food, y'all, because I was hungry. I remember eating the food, going for seconds. And a lot of the people that she invited as far as friends were concerned, she invited people from church. But as far as friends were concerned from the program, y'all, they weren't there. I was the only person from the program that was still there, even an hour after she came. So probably it was supposed to end at 4 p.m. Around 2:15-ish, that's when everybody else from the program that she invited started coming in. Mercedes came in. Her best friend came in. It was Mercedes and her best friend that came in at that time. And y'all, I struck a conversation with Mercedes. Now, here's the thing. At this time, this was December. God had already placed me on my healing journey back in August. So there was a lot of things that was revealed to me in August, September, October that, the Lord was letting me know. And at that time, too, the Holy Spirit already revealed to me that I need to stop taking things personal, that it's not the person, it's the spirit on them that's making them do what they do, right? So, because I was running into people who were just being mean to me. So at this time, y'all, I had already forgiven Mercedes for what happened. But here's the thing, though. Even though I forgave Mercedes, there was a part of me like, even if I was to see Mercedes out and about, I would say hello, but she's just not someone I can get close to because I felt like what she did was fake. But there's another part of me that I'm being reminded of what I felt in my spirit the first time I saw Mercedes in class. Like, I feel like this is someone I'm supposed to be friends with. I feel like this is someone I'm supposed to be connected to, right? So it's kind of like half and half at this point. Either way, I forgave her. I wasn't going to bring up anything about that. And I wasn't going to have an attitude towards her. I truly forgave her. Y'all, Mercedes comes and we're having a conversation, y'all. We're talking. And I'm like, oh, this girl's actually cool. She's actually chilled. Like, she's actually chill. Like, because I didn't talk to her while I was in school. But, y'all, we're having a conversation. Everything seemed fine. Around 3:00, Dina and another classmate of ours, he comes walking in. I hugged Dina. Now, looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? Especially for the fact that I knew that she was demonically possessed. But I hugged her. Y'all, this girl did not hug me back. Not only did she not hug me back, she did not look me in the eyes. She acted like I wasn't there. Like, when I was hugging her, y'all, and it was for a split second that I hugged her, she was looking at someone else. She was talking to, I think, Ruby's best friend. She didn't even say hi, no acknowledgement. And which I'm like, okay, cool. Now, when I sat on my seat, I was like, I hope whatever spirit is on her doesn't jump, doesn't jump on me or whatever. Now, here's the thing. Mercedes sat next to me, but how can I say? Mercedes sat on like the head of the table. And I was next to her. And then right next to me on my right side was an empty chair. Y'all, Dina made sure she went the other way. Like, she went through the other side of the table. She did not want to sit next to me. Someone else ended up sitting next to me, even though it was so clear that there was an empty chair. I'm like, it's cool. She don't want to sit next to me. I know she's demon possessed. So, whatever. So, like I said, I'm chopping up with Mercedes. She seems cool. Ruby's best friend is there. We're getting a little bit of a conversation going on, but my main conversation is actually happening with Mercedes. And then Mercedes was asking me like the job search and whatever. Now, at this time, I had gotten rejected by London, but I knew that God was taking me to London. So I'm like, hey, maybe something's going to happen in the month of January where I am just going to have to be in another position at London. So at this time, I was very optimistic. And I think I told Mercedes that, I think I told her, like, I think I have a job that I'm still waiting to hear back or something. I can't remember. Y'all, Ruby's best friend says to me, because I tell Mercedes that I live in North Decatur. Ruby's best friend says to me, like, oh, Adriel, you still live in North Decatur? I thought you moved. And I said to her, I'm like, move? Like, why did you think that I moved? Now, mind you, I don't really talk to Mercedes' best friend unless I see her. So in my head, I'm like, yo, Ruby's mouth is just so loose. I met with Ruby once and told her I was apartment hunting because, you know, my lease was going to end in January. She ran to tell her friend, her best friend, that I left North Decatur. I'm like, Ruby, she just runs her mouth too much. Anyways, I'm like, no, I still live in North Decatur. She's like, oh, I thought you would have moved. I'm like, why did you think that? Because I wanted her to say that, oh, Ruby told me that you moved. She was like, oh, no, I just thought that you would have moved already. So anyways, the graduation celebration is going on. We're all taking pictures with Ruby. Dina happened to stand next to me, y'all. Dina made sure she did not touch me. She made sure her sweater did not touch my shirt. Like, she was so, like, squeezing herself not to get in contact with me. So the celebration is over at 4, and they were saying that they want to go to a lounge. And then Ruby says to me, like, Adriel, I know you don't do lounges. I know, like, are you comfortable? And I'm like, sure. Like, I don't mind going to a lounge. She's like, Adriel, are you sure? I know that's not your vibe. That's not your scenery. Like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm sure. Like, if you guys want to go to a lounge, like, now, mind you, I wasn't going to smoke hookah. I wasn't going to drink. But, hey, if you want to go to a lounge, then, hey, okay, as long as you're comfortable. So we go to a lounge, right? And this lounge was actually not too far from me, right? Not too far from me. We get there. It's me, Mercedes, and Ruby at the lounge, and her best friend. And then the guy that she invited with, what's his girl? Dina. They were on their way. So we were there. They wanted to order something. I didn't want to order anything because I was kind of full. I didn't want to order any food. I was full. And also, too, y'all, I only had $7 in my account. At this time, y'all, I was in the wilderness. Okay. God had placed me in the wilderness season, so I wasn't working. Only had $7 in my account. I had to be mindful of my spending. And plus, like I said, I was full from eating all those rounds. So we're there. And eventually Dina and the other guy, they come in. And it was Dina and somebody else. I can't remember who the person was, but they had gotten hookah for themselves that they were smoking. Now, I don't do that. I don't smoke hookah. I don't drink. But here's the thing. I was sitting at the end of the booth. So I can't remember who the other person was, but it was Dina and someone else. Now, in my booth, it was Dina, Ruby in the middle, and then I was at the end. And then the other side, it was Mercedes, Ruby's best friend, and the guy. Dina was smoking that hookah, and it seemed like she was trying to blow it into my direction, y'all. Like, I'm like, how is that girl sitting over there and trying to blow this smoke my way? So Dina came in with the guy. He was her ride. They were there for like, I don't know, 30 or 40 minutes. And they ended up leaving because I think he had to do something. They ended up leaving. After they left, Ruby says to me, did you talk to Dina? I said, well, I hugged her and I said hi. So, I just try to be polite. This is what Ruby says to me. She says, yeah, I think you and Dina have like this misunderstanding. Like, I think you guys see things from two different perspectives. So I was kind of like, what? Now, once she said that, I think you and Dina see things from two different perspectives, or you guys see things differently, I already knew that Ruby had a conversation with Dina. So I say to Ruby, I said, what did she tell you? She said, no, I just think you guys just see things from two different perspectives. Ruby, what did she tell you? Well, during the semester, I was actually talking to Dina about it. And I said, hey, why didn't you, stop for Adriel's family when you saw us and all that? And she said that, well, actually, she was mad that I didn't invite her to brunch after the graduation, right? So after I graduated, we went to McCormick's. That was like close by to have brunch. And then we came back and that was when we saw Dina and she did what she did, right? So when Ruby said that Dina was mad that I didn't invite her to brunch, I said to Ruby, Ruby, how did she know that we went to brunch? Because the place that Dina saw me and my family was, we were just crossing the street from our school's building. Y'all, me and my family and Ruby, we could have been coming from anywhere. She didn't know where we were coming from. So how did she know we went to brunch? So I say to Ruby, how did she know we went to brunch? Yeah, I think you guys just have a misunderstanding. Now I'm looking at Ruby like, what is this girl talking about? You were there when it happened. You even said out your mouth that what Dina did was weird. You saw it happen for your own eyes, and you're telling me that there's a misunderstanding. We have two different perspectives. You were there. So now I'm looking at Ruby like, what is going on, y'all? This girl is giving me like a couple of red flags at this point. So eventually Ruby's best friend leaves. So it's just me, Ruby, and Mercedes. Oh, I forgot to mention this. I knew I was forgetting something. Back in the month of April, 2019, y'all, I had two dreams where me, Ruby, and Mercedes were hanging out. The first dream was like a church. The second dream, we're hanging out in a home. Now, in the second dream, all three of us were hanging out at a home. And I remember Ruby telling me something in the dream. And then it happened. I think she was telling me, oh, somebody's about to call you. And then the person called me. Like, so she kind of like predicted the future in the dream, and then it happened. Okay. So now fast forward to us being at the lounge. We're at the lounge and it's just me, Mercedes, and Ruby. When it's just all three of us, I remember the dreams. I'm like, man, I had a dream with all three of us were hanging out. So it's all three of us, y'all. And we're talking. And Mercedes was talking about how she was going to travel to Switzerland because she had this travel abroad program with Georgia State. So she was talking about that. Now, at that time, Ruby was traveling to Nigeria for Dead Sea December. So we were also talking about that too. So we're just talking. And then the conversation got to, I believe, Tiana or another friend of Ruby's. And I remember Mercedes was like, oh, is that the friend that you said such and such and such and such and such? The next thing you know, Ruby starts laughing like, yes. So I remember just looking like, why is Ruby talking about her friends to Mercedes? I thought, to me, that was weird because it's like you're making fun of your friend to Mercedes. Now, mind you, she did the same thing to Mercedes when she said that Mercedes was on Pinterest trying to learn how to make Nigerian dishes. So it's like, Ruby, is this how you move when it comes to your friends? I don't know about this. Like, I don't move like that. So we're still talking, and Mercedes is talking about, we're talking about relationships at this point, right? We're just talking about relationships, and Mercedes was telling us about a guy that was trying to talk to her at that point. And I was like, oh, let me see. So I saw his picture. We were just talking. I'm like, oh, I know a friend that was in that program. So we're just talking, right? And we started talking about relationships, and then she started talking about like what she looks for in a relationship and how she talks to her mom about her relationships and all stuff like that. And then I remember the conversation got to her living at home. And she said that she lived in Riverdale. Now, I'm sitting there like, she lives in Riverdale. But Ruby told me that she lived in downtown Decatur. So she was just talking about, living at home, but, eventually she's going to branch out and get her own place, But for right now, she still lives at home in Riverdale. Y'all, I remember sitting there thinking like, but didn't Ruby tell me that this girl lived in downtown Decatur? So I'm listening to Mercedes talk, but in my head, I'm confused. Now, looking back, I probably should have said something. But then again, I was thinking, you know what? Maybe her family moved. Maybe her family used to live in downtown Decatur and they moved to Riverdale. Y'all, at this point, I'm dismissing these red flags. Like, you know what was happening, y'all? I was seeing the red flags come my way. I'll look at it and then just go. Look at the red flag, go. Look at the red flag, go. That was what happened, y'all. So anyways, we were leaving the lounge, and Mercedes was telling us that the Nigerian restaurant next door, they're reopened. So there was a Nigerian restaurant that was open back in, 2017 or 2018? I heard about it in 2018. They shut down and they reopened. Now, this is not the same Nigerian restaurant that Ruby was trying to have her birthday dinner at. This was a completely different Nigerian restaurant. So Mercedes was like, yeah, they're reopened. Let's go and check it out. So I was like, okay, cool. So we go next door to the Nigerian restaurant, right? Now, mind you, y'all, I have $7 in my account. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to spend anything because, one, I'm still full from all the food that I ate at the restaurant. And two, is like, yo, I need to hold on to the $7. But a part of me was saying, hey, if they have meat pie on this menu, I'm going to order it. And I think at that time, meat pie, like 2 meat pie was like $5 or so. So I was thinking like, yeah, I may order meat pie if they have it on the menu. So we go inside and they hand us the menu. Yeah, I'm looking at the menu and they don't have meat pie. And I'm just like, what? A Nigerian restaurant without meat pie? I've never heard about that before. Never. So the waitress comes back and she says, hey, let me take your order. Mercedes orders plantains, right? Ruby orders beef suya. Now, if you don't know what suya is an assorted meat, okay? Now, Ruby ordered the beef suya. So I'm looking at the menu and I'm like, you guys don't have any meat pie? She was like, no, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to order anything. Now, mind you, a part of me already didn't want to order anything because I had the $7 in my account. I tried to hold on to that. So I was like, yeah, I'm not ordering anything. Ruby says, oh, no. We can have the suya together. Like, I'm ordering suya. We can share it together. I said, okay. Now, here's the thing. When Ruby said that she's ordering suya, because she already told the waitress that she was ordering the suya, I was under the impression that she was ordering the suya for herself, but at the same time, she felt like she wasn't going to be able to finish it. So instead of wasting it, it's like, Adriel, come and share it with me because I don't want to waste it, right? That was what I was thinking in my head. She said, let's share the suya. Now, mind you, she already ordered it for herself. But once I said I wasn't ordering anything, she was like, let's share the suya. So I said, okay. I'm going to share her suya with her. So she puts in the order, the waitress puts in the order, and we're just there talking. And we're talking about Ruby going to Nigeria for Dirty December. And we're just talking all about stuff like that, whatever, right? And then Ruby also at this time had applied to a job. She did an interview, but she hadn't yet heard back from them. So, and I think the job was Oakwood. Yeah, I think she applied to a position at Oakwood and she did the interview and she was waiting to hear back. So eventually the waitress comes with the food. She gives Mercedes her plantain and she gives Ruby the suya. Now the suya was $10, y'all. Okay? So we're eating it, talking, hanging out, gisting, whatever. The bill comes. The bill comes and y'all, Ruby says to me, oh, Adriel, could you use your card? Once she said that, I immediately shut her down and say, I don't have $10 in my account. Y'all, this girl wanted us to go 50-50 with her suya. I didn't know that. Y'all, when Ruby told me that let's share the suya, I thought she was paying for it for herself and was going to give me some out of it. That's what I thought. No, y'all, she wanted us to share that suya 50-50, $5, $5. If I knew that, I wouldn't have agreed to that. So in my head, I'm like, oh my goodness, I thought this girl just wanted to have me eat the food with her. So she says, okay, I'll use my card, but then you have to send me the money. So now, mind you, I had $7 in my account. Right away, I sent her that $5 because I was like, I didn't want to get any surprise, like fee on my card, surprise withdrawal. Let me just send this $5 right away. So she pays for the suya with her card. Yeah, she had her card with her this day. She pays for the suya and she was going over the receipt with me. Let's just say, for the sake of the story, everything altogether was $10.80. Let's say the 80 cents was the tax, y'all. Now, mind you, I already sent the $5, right? I wasn't even thinking about the tax. I just saw $10. Okay, I'm going to give her $5. I wasn't thinking about the tax. I was trying to give her that money right away. So she's going over the receipt with me and say, okay, so you need to send me $5.40. So I say to her like, oh, I already sent you $5 already. So she's kind of looking at me. So I'm looking at her. I say, hey, do you want me to send you 40 cents? And then she kind of looks at me. She's like, yeah, never mind. Now, in my head, I'm like, is this girl really going to ask me for 40 cents? Now, here's the thing. It's her money. But I kind of wasn't expecting her to be so nitpicky about it. Because, y'all, she was really going through that receipt. So, yeah, okay, so, yeah, $5.40. And here's the thing. I don't know. I don't move like that. I don't do things like that. So, to be honest, looking back, and this is something I had to learn later on, because my friendship with Ruby wasn't the only friendship that was showing me things. I realized, y'all, please, y'all, be friends with people that are like-minded with you. Be friends with people that y'all have the same mindset. Because I've noticed that when you're friends with people that have a different mindset from you, the friendship is not going to work. It's not. The friendship is not going to work out at all. So when you are seeing red flags in a person, or just seeing things that you know you're not down with, that just lets you know that you and that person are not the same, and it's best that y'all don't develop a friendship. Okay, so back to this $5.40 situation. I can tell when I said, oh, do you want me to send you 40 cents? And she said, never mind. I can tell she was kind of irritated by me. I don't know if she thought that I was trying to dupe her, like get one over her by just paying $5. But to be honest, y'all, I just wasn't thinking about the tax. I really wasn't. It was $10. I'm like, okay, here's $5. I just wasn't thinking about the tax. And at the same time, too, y'all, I didn't think I was going to actually pay for this thing. So when she was like, never mind, I can tell her never mind wasn't genuine. Like, she was kind of like tight about that 40 cents. Yeah, so I noticed that about her. Anyways, we leave the restaurant. We go our separate ways. And December 18, y'all, was Ruby's graduation. Now, here's the thing. Ruby did not invite me to her graduation, but I did go because at the time, my friend Melissa was also graduating in December, and she invited me. So that is that when it comes to Ruby in 2019. 2020 is when things start to really get weirder. That's when it gets darker, weirder, and she really starts to come into who I eventually knew her to be later on. Okay, so if you're liking A Likely Story, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share my videos. If you like the story time, please share my videos, like it, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, y'all, bye.